I'd like to introduce myself. I'm the President and CEO of Western Uranium Vanadium. We just added vanadium to our name in the last year because of our vanadium resource. One of the things, I had a suggestion from one of my investors that we should start with the last slide on our presentation, and that's the capital structure of the company. He said that's probably more important to a lot of the investors out here than the resource, our production plans and things like that. So I'm just going to go over that. But we've got about 26 million shares outstanding, a market cap of about 14 million, and I own about 18% of the company. And apparently that's important to investors because I've got a big stake in the outcome of this company and the value of this company. So what we've done in the last year, that we started this company with assets we bought from another company that I formed called Energy Fuels. We bought these assets about 4 years ago, primarily because they were good uranium assets. The key to this company today is not necessarily the uranium, but it's the vanadium. If you follow the vanadium market, and most of you probably don't, vanadium is somewhat minor metal, but the vanadium last year was probably the strongest mining commodity. The price of vanadium ended the year on the Chinese market at over $30 a pound. In the past, vanadium has been as low as $3 a pound, so we've seen a substantial increase in the price of vanadium, mostly from the fact that the Chinese, being the largest producer of vanadium in the world, have cut their production back substantially, and in addition, they've decided that their rebar in special construction projects should contain vanadium. And I don't know if you're familiar, but if you add about 2 pounds of vanadium to a ton of steel, it doubles the strength. So vanadium is a commodity that's primarily produced, half of the vanadium production is produced from waste products, from either steel, iron ore production, or from petroleum coke. And that's where the Chinese were producing a great deal of the vanadium because they had a lot of steel mills. These inefficient small steel mills were ordered to be shut down because of the pollution. And they stopped producing the vanadium. So all of a sudden, the price of vanadium skyrocketed. Now the price has dropped back off. It's around $20 a pound. Depends on the European price or the Chinese price, but we've dropped off considerably, but we're still above that somewhat low price that it's had in the past. So our company is ready to start with one key mine. I want to go to that slide very quickly, and you can review this. This is all on our website. But the Sundy Mine complex is a mine that was first produced by Union Carbide. It was primarily a uranium mine, but Union Carbide, back when they were in the mining business, was the largest vanadium producer in the world, with mines throughout the world. One of their mines was the Sundy Mine, and they mined this primarily for uranium. And if the vanadium content in the mine didn't meet the grade cutoff for uranium, they simply left it in the mine. So one of the things that we're intending to do, this is a Sundy Mine. It's a complex of 5 mines that were produced as recently as 2009. It was owned by Denison, and you're probably familiar with Denison, the uranium company. Denison sold this mine to Energy Fuels, and then in turn I bought it from Energy Fuels. This mine is full of high-grade vanadium that was bypassed in the past because it didn't contain the uranium. We recently took a sample, and that machine that you see there is called an XRF, which basically gives you the reading of minerals. And you can see this is a 12% sample of vanadium in this mine. It has almost no uranium in it. So what our plan is to go in, open the Sundy Mine, pull off the samples of the high-grade vanadium, and ship it to customers or potential customers around the world. There's a number of these customers that need the feed product to produce ferrovanadium. Ferrovanadium is the upgraded form of vanadium pentoxide, which is produced primarily by the mines and the mills. But ferrovanadium, if you take a look at the pricing, is worth about 3 times the price of pentoxide. So what we're going to do is we're going to ship high-grade samples of this ore to these customers with the idea initially they will simply buy the ore. The values of the ore will be high enough to justifying it shipping it offshore. Eventually, it would be an ideal thing to build a new vanadium processing plant in the U.S. In Canada and the U.S., we don't produce any vanadium today, 0. And so that's got to change. Of course, there's a number of vanadium companies, and some of you have heard of these, Prophecy and a number of First Vanadium. They're all planning to come on, and they will be on if the price stays high enough. But with our mine, we're not as sensitive to the vanadium price simply because we have the co-product, or will have it, with uranium, and we have very high grades. One of the things, this area, and it's not just my mines in this area, this could very well be what Athabasca Basin is for uranium. This area could be for vanadium. It's probably the highest grade vanadium in the world. I'm not saying it's all 12%, but the average grade here is probably around 2%, and you combine it with that high grade that was left in the mine, we think we can mine at about 4% to 5% vanadium. And of course, Energy Fuels has some of these same kind of mines. There are a number of other companies that have mines in the area, but that area could be a very large vanadium producing area within the next few years, especially with a new vanadium plant. Now, our plans are to consider building a new plant, but first to get cash flows going by shipping the ore offshore to the already existing processing plants in China, Japan, Russia, even in South America. So that's the initial plan for the company. The key thing, you can look at some of our other assets. We've got about 70 million pounds of uranium, 43101. And defined vanadium, we only have about probably 40 million pounds, but most of it hasn't been defined. So that's what our exploration or definition program will be in the next couple of months, to define the high-grade vanadium in the Sundy Mine and hopefully increase the value of our shares to our shareholders. Thank you.